Hello, Brad Steiner here, and today I want to talk about something that might be a little bit uncomfortable for some people who have, let's say, an exaggerated opinion about what training in martial arts can do. I want to talk about three types of situations that are deadly for anyone: expert, novice, beginner, advanced, black belt, white belt, big, powerful guy, small guy, it doesn't matter. Man, woman, child, elderly, whoever you are, whatever your degree of training, however skilled, whatever system you're in, these three situations are deadly and must be treated as such in your training and above all when you think about them. I remember in Jujitsu being taught all sorts of defenses, in quotes, against these types of attack. And when I look back on the techniques I was taught, with no disrespect intended whatever to the system or to the teachers, those techniques were of highly questionable value. Under extreme conditions, when it happened for real, the techniques were not really doable. Certainly not doable as readily as they were in training. First situation, being attacked from behind. And I know there are dozens and dozens of defenses that are taught against rear mugging attacks, bear hug attacks, sudden grabs, the application of a side headlock when someone jumps on you from behind. When an attack comes from behind, no matter how skillful you are, you're not expecting it. If you were expecting danger from behind, you'd turn around and you wouldn't be attacked from behind. So you're being attacked by surprise, and depending upon how lucky or unlucky you are, how alert or inattentive you are, how aggressive or non-aggressive the attacker is, you could be you could find yourself able to deal with it fairly easily, or it could be impossible for you to deal with it. Mugging attacks when someone throws his arm around your neck or throat from behind. Yeah, I know you can be taught to throw someone over your shoulder, you can be taught to use all sorts of techniques, and we cover this. My assumption in American Combato is when you're grabbed, you're going to be pulled backward off balance, and you're taught to deal with that. But there's always that question: a surprise attack from behind is potentially deadly. I don't care how skilled you are. It makes no difference. And I don't care how skilled anyone else is. I tell you, if I can attack someone from behind, I've got him. I remember once at a seminar, it was a seminar I gave for women in Phoenix, Arizona, years ago. A woman asked me, well, what happens if somebody comes up behind you and stabs you with a knife? And they get you from behind. And I looked at the woman. It was a serious question, based on an illusory concept of what you can do in martial arts. And I said to her, you will die. That's what will happen. There's nothing you can do. And that is the truth. There are attacks from behind against which there are no defenses. So obviously, you train yourself. Don't leave access to your rear. Protect your rear. Protect it. And of course, learn effective techniques against such attacks as can be conceivably defended against. Put a lot of time into it. Lapel grabs, wrist grabs, arm grabs, somebody in front of you getting ready to punch you, somebody in a boxer's stance. These are all threatening situations that could lead to murder, granted, but they can be dealt with. Once you acquire a serious level of skill, they are not that dangerous. Attacks from behind are deadly. Second category, weapon attacks, weapon threats. I've seen defenses taught against deadly weapons that are laughable if it wasn't for the fact that people are studying these ridiculous moves and they may try them out and they'll get killed as a result. You're not going to take a knife away from somebody who attacks you with a knife. You're not going to avoid getting cut or stabbed. Unless you're so lucky, things just go so well, thank God afterward, get down on your knees and thank God that it happened that way. But in the real world, the guy's not going to take a rubber knife in hand, stand in front of you, say, okay, let's go over that straight thrust with a knife. And he gets ready, you get ready, and you forget it. It's not going to happen. Gun threats, knife attacks, weapon attacks of any kind, club attacks, always deadly. Finally, and this I will tell you, of the three categories, statistically tends to be the least deadly because you stand the greatest chance of defending successfully against it if you've studied good techniques, and that is multiple assailant situations. They are always deadly. Police departments will teach their recruits, if you've got 2 or more people attacking you at one time, even though they don't have weapons, you're justified in using your sidearm. Something to remember if you can legally carry a sidearm. Don't think you're Superman. Multiple attackers are deadly because you only have 2 arms and 2 legs. If you have one attacker behind you and one in front of you, you can only see what the one in front of you is doing. You can be struck in the head from behind. If you're surrounded, you have a fraction of a second to get out of that situation. Multiple attackers can do any multiplicity of things to you. It is not true that training, and I know people are going to disagree with this, people are not going to want to hear this. It is not possible training in classical kata, which supposedly teaches you to defend against multiple attackers, to defend against multiple attackers. Sorry, you can't do it. Absolute nonsense. However, there are ways to defend against multiple attackers. We deal with them in American Combato, and honestly, we've had situations, I have had, Professor Bryans has had, situations with his students where they've had to deal with multiple attackers and did so very successfully. I don't want to imbue anyone with overconfidence or an exaggerated sense of capability. Multiple attacker situations are always deadly for everybody, including you, including me, and it will always be the case. Attacks from behind, attacks with any kind of weapon, multiple assailant attacks. These should receive the lion's share of attention once you've passed the basic stage in training and can handle the commonly encountered lone assailant situations that occur within your range of vision. Until the time when you pass on, you can count on those 3 categories of attacks being deadly. Address them as such in your training.